Yo, how's everybody doing? This is Denis Tyrell, Knifeworks. I have my little friend Jerid Sandoval from Echo Blades. Welcome to the Triple T for Knife Makers podcast. Jerid, how are you? I got a smile out of you.
You did. That's pretty good for right now too. So, little friend, she's a sweetheart. She's surely a sweetheart.
Oh man, what a week! What a week! So much shit going on this week that, yeah, all around some not so good news in lots of circles this week.
Yeah,
Where do we start?
to say the least. The
Yeah,
yeah,
we got our friends over in the East Coast just getting pounded
yeah,
with bad news and bad luck. So we're wishing them all the best, and we'll get into that a little more. But what's going on in your end of the world?
well, I have. Just gonna get this out of the way, I guess. I personally have a fly crawling on my monitor, and it's driving me fucking crazy. And I don't know what to do right now because I want to swat at it, but chances are I'm not, I'm not Kung Fu Master Mr. Miyagi, and I'm gonna fucking knock a bunch of shit over if I do. So,
That's why they
but yeah,
call them bugs.
that's not pretty good for a man who suffers from easily distracted.
I see that.
Yeah, it's really bad. But I'm smiling, so yeah. Anyway, sorry about that, guys. It's not the most professional thing in the world, but I'm not that guy. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't want to do it, dude. The fly's killing me. You go ahead. Let me get my shit together.
What's going on? Well, let's talk about what's going on the East Coast.
Yeah, sure.
Hurricane Helene. I don't even know how to say it.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm glad you struggled with that because I want to say Helen, but I think it's Helene.
She's a bitch. That's all we have to say. A bunch of folks got hit really hard. Our good friend John Norwood basically lost his house, his shop. Basically, I guess he lives on a mountain, near a mountain. Mountain meaning I don't know how big mountain, large hill, whatever. Huge mudslide came down that thing, took out his house, took out his shop, and he's, I think, just getting out of the hospital now. And the worst news is that still no reports of where his fiance is. So there's a GoFundMe for John to help him out. Lots of people have posted it. I'm sure you can find it anywhere. Look up my posts. Yeah. So, John Norwood at Old Hickory Forge. Just a great guy. And it sucks that this has happened to him. And he's not the only one. I see you got American Warrior Forge, their shop burned down, I guess you have in your notes.
Yeah, that's that was in Idaho, separate.
Oh, okay.
From
So well, I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that one. But a lot of other shops got hit. I don't have all the names, but there's just
it's being on this side of the country, right? We don't deal with that kind of weather and those kind of natural disaster type things. I mean, we have earthquakes, rain, some flooding, a lot of fires. But I was really shocked to hear that, when I think of hurricanes anyways, I think of our buddies down in Florida taking the brunt of all that. But it seems that the most of the damage was all inland, and that's surprising to me.
Yeah, it's all the rain. They're just not used to getting this much rain in this short of a period.
Yeah.
And it's just like when you see the flooding in, like when I think of Tennessee, I don't think of it like you're saying. I don't think of it as getting hit by by hurricanes.
Yeah,
Like
same.
it's just not a border state. It's just not one I think about. And then seeing on the news and on Instagram the flooding that's happening in like the rivers in Tennessee, like there's entire towns that have been taken out.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I know it's a wet state. It rains a lot, or in that area, but it's nothing like this. So
yeah,
yeah, I mean, my heart goes out to everybody that's been affected by that, and if you have the means to support these GoFundmes, I know of some fundraisers, auctions type things that are being put together. I know Sharky's doing one for somebody. The other name eludes me here at the moment. I'll look it up here in a second. For John, and if you can, please do, and at least send whatever your deal is. Send the prayers up, and good thoughts out to those folks that are hit by this thing, because some unfortunate news.
yeah. It's just terrible stuff. But
Yeah, and that kind of leads me to, on I think it was Monday or Tuesday morning, I was just scrolling through Instagram for a second, and I did see somebody that I follow, American Warrior Forge, had a shop fire, and I'm not sure the details, but he lost his entire shop, and was hurt too in the process. I think he had some burns of some kind, and was in the hospital for a quick second. Saw a follow up post though that he's okay, and trying to get his stuff together. It was a bummer though, because I kind of was going back a little bit in the feed, and he was prepping, making the mad push to finish up for Blade Show West, and I'm not sure how much, if that's affected that, but just nevertheless, just kind of heartbreaking stuff, and you know just puts some things in perspective, as we're kind of going through life on these poor me type things. I'm guilty of it all the time. I'm really busy, I have this really full life, and I can easily start complaining about things that some others would be grateful to be struggling with. So I just kind of put that in perspective and try to count your blessings, and be thankful for what we have, and just
yeah,
that
that does remind me that I need to check my home insurance. Um, since I paid the house off, now I'm like, because I think our home insurance used to be through our lender. So now I got to look that up, and that's a good reminder to make sure all the right kind
yeah,
of coverage is there.
yeah, that's a good point. Something easily overlooked, right? You're mandated to have insurance while you're paying that that note, but
Yeah.
there's probably no friendly reminder that you're what you own is in jeopardy.
Now that you own it, they don't give a shit.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's crazy.
yeah. But as far as shop time, yeah, I've been moderately successful in the last week in the shop. I sent you a video yesterday. I'm not ready to totally talk about it, but I have all the pieces to my apocalyptic challenge blade together. And as much as I didn't like this challenge going in, this is turning out to be, I think, one of my favorite blades to actually wield. Um, the cut test on this one is going to be really fun,
Yeah,
because it's a big one. It's a fun one to swing around.
it's a beast. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of cool. I was gonna. We haven't talked much this week, but I was gonna tell you it's cool to kind of see you go out of the box with what you were doing. I know what you were starting with and what you ended up with. Yeah, it's not a typical Tyrell Knifeworks type build, so I think it's pretty
No.
cool.
Yeah, it's not, and yeah, I really can't wait to do the cut test. I mean, I still got some, you know, it's still going to be more polished, I think, than what a lot of people would think of as an apocalyptic challenge build. Like, it's going to be hand sanded. It's going to be, you know, it's going to be coffee etched. Like, there's some things I'm still doing to it because I want it to be dramatic. But yeah, it's just the. And I'm not saying this is not like, I don't want to overdo it. It's not like a big 10-foot battle axe or anything like that, but it has some heft to it, and yeah. So that, and just getting some of those chef knives out there. Yeah, I mean, I had six chef knives on the bench, and they were all ground. All I had to do was hand sand, put handles on them, sharpen, all that stuff. And instead of like hand sanding them all, yeah, I figured I would do them in like one at a. It's more my pace to do like hand sand, put the handle on it, because then I'll hand sand, go choose handle material, put the handle on it, router it, sand it, and then start on the next one. It's just a little easier on my brain and my, you know, all that stuff. So I got four more. I'm just pretty much through the third one right now, and then I got three more. But.
Yeah, I know but that's consistent with what you always tell me. You know, trying to get through the entire process instead of dragging on the really lame thing. Currently, right now, because I'm still in the midst of all those 80%ers, we'll call them. A lot of hand sanding, and the one thing that always is in my head is my buddy Sean from the knife guy, Sean Wilson. I was telling him I had like 2 or 3 hands blades to sand, and he's like, "Why do you hate yourself so much?" And every time I look at him, I'm like, so I kind of took a little page out of that book and uh didn't just kill myself with like a day of hand sanding, and I just hand sand for this for a little while, and then move over to something else and grind something, and because I made some progress on the maker swap Intrepid, got that ground out.
Oh, is that what you were showing me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that thing was heat treated in Reno, so I in the midst of trying to finish up and work on some other stuff, I went to the grinder, and it was an interesting deal. Like Rick might get a kick out of this, right? Because when I went to Reno, I ground the knife the way that Rick does it, and I have
With a
done
push stick.
with the push stick on the rest, right?
Yeah.
So I have just been on a freehand tip for a while, and I feel confident on the rest with my thumb and the push stick and everything, but I don't like the straight up and down plunge, right? So
have you considered? I'm going to ask you this. Have you considered? Because I do this for my chef knives. I will do the first. I don't know, probably 80% of the grinding I will do on the rest to set that bevel, and then I'll take the rest off, and then I'll do it on an angle.
that's what I did.
Okay, that's
That's
what
what I did. But I didn't. Jerid doesn't quite think all the way through. Sometimes I like, especially when I'm about to grind, because I truly feel like when I am at the grinder, anyways, I got to be in a good state of mind. Like, I'm ready to go get this bitch, and like, get that confidence and just get after it and go. So a lot of times I will not, and it hasn't really come into play except yesterday. I probably went too far to the plunge than I should have in hindsight. So when I went to put the file guide on and angle my plunge line, I didn't get quite as much as I had intended to, but it's still it's not up and down. It's still that. But the point what I was trying to say is it was the one thing that Rick does that I don't do is I'll cut in my scribe my center line, and I'll go cut that initial bevel in. But I angle my rest at 45 degrees, and I
Mhm.
cut the initial bevel in that way with the guided rest, right? I don't think you do it that way. I think you just
I
kind
don't
of
do
go
that.
after it. Yeah. And I didn't do it this time. And fuck, man. Halfway through it, I was like, I should have just kept my way. Like, thank you, Rick. I really appreciate what but it would have made the rest of the process a lot easier. Cause I was just, it's brainless on the rest, right? You're just grinding to the line.
Yeah, I mean, believe me, once you have your method, yeah, use your method. For me, the reason I don't like doing that is because I like to see because you grind that thing almost to an apex on a 45, right?
Yeah.
And then you come in and do your bevels.
Mhm.
I find it harder to check the thickness of the edge when there's that 45 bevel there.
Mhm.
That's why, like, I want to come in from, I'm working that bevel in so I can look top down. I can look at the edge of the blade and see how thick the edge is.
Now I see both sides. Like I'm stuck in this. I haven't found my way of anything really, but I can see both sides.
Yeah.
And it just was different, right? So it took me a little longer than I wanted to, but I used the push stick for a lot of it. And then I don't know about you, when you take instruction and somebody's there with you, you get into those little spots where you fuck up. And I never take this for granted to have somebody with you and being like, oh no, this is where it is, and like, and how do you correct that? Like, I was wishing
Mhm.
for Big Rick to be over my shoulder, because for a lot of the way though, I was able to kind of like really apply the things that you and I have gone over in him, and with the push stick and trying to follow the bevel along the blade and et cetera, et cetera. But I got through it and it came out good. I was happy with it, and did the handles fronts on a few knives actually. So now I just gotta get I gotta surface grind that thing and throw the handles on, and that'll be wrapped up pretty quick here. So
Yeah. So I tell you, and I think I sent a video to you. Um, so I've been in contact because we're at Rick's and he has one. So Rick has one of Oliver Tobin's grinding jigs.
yes, sir.
And folks, if you're listening, if you don't know what that is, I'm going to be doing a video on this. You're actually going to see it in my Apocalyptic Challenge build because I actually use it on that blade. And that thing has 4 bevels. And it's really long. That I think is going to be my new favorite way to put in. Like, I will be using that a lot. It is very similar to the way I teach people how to grind. I'm a huge fan of that thing after using it on my apocalyptic challenge build. So I think I'm going to be doing sand sharks. Sorry, sand sharks. Sand tigers. I got those little sand tigers, which is a compound grind because it's got the tip, right? Because it's a Tonto. Uh, anyway, you guys may not know what I'm talking about. Wait for my video on this. I think this grinding jig is going to revolutionize grinding jigs. And I've said many times I'm not a fan of a jig, but this is not something you clamp a blade into. It's more of a fixture than a jig. So stay tuned on this. I'm going to be doing a video in a couple of weeks on this thing.
Yeah, I had seen. I can't. Man, the name of the guy that is. It's eluding me. About a year ago, guy was using that jig and he was trying to make his own, and he was just raving about it. And then when we were up there with Rick, I was just all about it. I didn't know you went ahead and got yourself one until not too long ago. It just came like last week, or like it came a
I've had it for a couple of weeks. I just
couple
haven't
weeks.
opened the
Yeah,
box.
yeah,
And honestly, I had a really hard time on the first bevel because that weapon's really long and really heavy, meaning like you're dragging something that's like the blade is like 35 inches. It's hard to keep that thing. at the same angle.
Yeah.
It's trivial with that blade grinding
Yeah, I
jig.
think that was the text message you got. You were like, "This fucking sword," or whatever the hell. This thing was fucking me up, and he's like, "This thing almost killed me. Like this one bevel, and I got 3 more to go." And then the next day, he texts me. He's like, "Nope, no
Yeah,
problem."
it took me probably upwards of 2.5 hours to do that first bevel. And then I did the other three. Okay, guys, it's a sword. It's a big sword. you,
I fucked it
you,
up. I fucked
well,
it
I
up.
mean,
I'm
come
sorry.
on. I said 4 bevels. Like, what else would it be?
Yeah, I guess so. All
Um,
right.
it's a big sword. And I did probably the other 3 bevels in less than 2 hours.
Yeah, I could. I didn't respond to you because I had some stuff happening, but yeah, that I could see, I could feel the enthusiasm with like this thing kicks ass. I
Yeah.
think Ryan Coakley has one too, and he was raving about it as well.
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, I heard right before this, I was listening to him on Fire and Steel, and they actually
Yeah,
were talking about it on there.
yeah. So it's a great jig, and I got to get one for myself because anything that helps, right? Uh, Consistency and all that good stuff is an
Yeah,
awesome tool.
I'm still waiting to hear from Oliver who the American distributor is going to be, because that's kind of what I was waiting for before I do the video, because people are going to want to know where to get it. And right now, anyone in the U.S. ordering it from overseas is probably not realistic. So
Right.
um, maybe Lawrence will carry them. I don't know,
Yeah.
but they're going to fly off the shelves, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. That would be the spot to go to because every time I need anything for knife making, I always go see Lawrence Lake at Maritime Knife Supply. He's got it all from grinders to jigs to attachments, that condursal I am stoked to use for myself, abrasives, heat treating ovens, handle material, pins, like on and on and on, and every kind of steel you can imagine. He's just got it all. And my
Yeah,
favorite, your favorite, cuts the Damascus, cuts the steel up for you for Damascus. Just a beautiful service, small convenience fee, well worth it. And on top of that, he's going to get that thing shipped up, packaged up, and shipped out to you in a flash. So make sure you guys go check out Maritime Knife Supply at maritimeknifesupply.com for the US or .ca for the Canadians. I said that right. God dang it.
wow, good for
I think
you.
I ended my streak of Canadians.
And we're going to see Mr. Lawrence in a week and a half
Yeah, I'm
at
stoked.
Maker Camp. He's got a little surprise for us, by the way.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. He already told me what it was, but I'm not telling you.
Great. You Canadians stick together. I can see
That's
that.
right.
You brothers too. You like seriously, that's one of my favorite things to do is to every time we get to hang out with Lawrence, it's always a great time. But Makers Camp, we tend to have just a fucking grand old time of nothing but
Yeah.
laughs. So I'm
Yeah.
stoked.
It's good. I'm speaking of Maker Camp, which I can't believe is a week and a half away. I'm getting pretty excited. I had one of my students come over. Masaru came over. He just lives in Tracy.
Hmm.
And he wanted to come over. He's working on his apocalyptic challenge build, and he started with a massively thick leaf spring, and he learned that hand hammering a leaf spring is no fun. So
He
I
pressed
think
it out.
he brought it over. It's this huge chopper. It's really cool, but it was over 3/8 thick. Like if you threw it at someone, you're gonna. It's like throwing a boat anchor. So he wanted to use the surface grinder. He I put him to work on the surface grinder and thin that baby out.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to meet him and hang out too. I'm
Yeah.
happy.
And he brought me a case of beer.
Oh,
Yeah.
I never did that.
Comes over, uses a tool, and brings over a case of beer. How about that, Jerid?
I've never done that. Try hard, kiss ass. I give you nothing, and then and I get stuck with a podcast. So I think you're the winner there, bud.
Yeah, right. We did have a little chat about what to expect at Maker Camp and things to bring, and I warned him he's staying at the Weldon House. So whether you stay on the property or on their little sister resort, which is like not even a half mile away, it's rustic. And I warned him, like, bring a sleeping bag and I don't know if I remember if I told him to bring a pillow, but
bring a pillow.
Yeah, it's what would I tell him? It's the next best thing to camping. Basically, it's camping, but you're not in a tent.
Yeah. But that first year was memorable.
Yeah, rustic is the term that I would use, but it's still better than being in an actual tent.
I agree, because it's cold as shit.
Cold. It's just the uncomfortableness of like sleeping, even if it's like an air mattress. It's just not fun.
I agree.
Yeah,
I still haven't thought about what I'm going to bring or what I want to do. So
I think I'm going to bring a hammer. Probably bring a little bit of steel. I'd probably bring a couple of blades to grind if I get bored. Like work to do. Actually, I'm going to bring some steel. I want to forge a knife in the blacksmith tent this year. Nice. In the coal forge.
Yeah.
And probably bring a PCW2 or something like that and actually forge a knife there. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, I had an idea that I think I did not capitalize on last year. So I'd better reach out and let these couple of unsuspecting folks know I'm going to be knocking on their tent for some time. And that's all I got to say about that.
What?
No, there's some absolutely fantastic makers of all kinds at Makers Camp. And I realized last year that not that some people are working the event and, doing things, but there's a lot of downtime, right? So I don't think I think there were some opportunities for me to get into some conversations about questions and possibly, get some one-on-one time with some really badass people that do awesome things. And I think I'm going to try to take advantage of that this year, which I didn't do last year. And I watched it happen in front of me a couple times. So I don't want to let that happen again. So, closed mouth don't get fed type thing.
Yeah.
So you got to go get it. So, but yeah. So go ahead.
No, you go.
Nope, I'm pissing out again. Go ahead.
I was going to say I have some good news. In fact, it will be announced as if you're even listening to this Tuesday morning, the Sand Shark Buddy will be released today.
Nice.
And if you're curious what that is, the Sand Shark Buddy is a marriage between the Sand Shark by yours truly and the Sanding Buddy by our friend Kyle Daly at Cage Daily Knives. And Kyle and I have been working together over the last few weeks with some, basically the Sanding Buddy is awesome. It's basically a sanding stick. You put these inserts into. They can be flat. And it has different radiuses. I'm doing these chef knives that all have hollows in them. They all have S grinds that are 36-inch radiuses. So I'm having to use the Sanding Buddy. So what Kyle and I have come up with is a little clamping system. So you can clamp these holders on the side of the hand rests on the Sand Shark, and then you just drop the Sanding Buddy in, and there's no more pressure resistance. Like there's no more tension on your arms holding the sanding stick. The holders take all of that. All you do is downward pressure. And go watch my Instagram video where I'm pressing on the sanding buddy with one finger, and it's doing all the work. And I have it on max speed. And I do a couple little funny things where I've like sitting my elbow on it, and I'm having a coffee and I'm scrolling on my phone while I'm sanding. It's really cool. So if you have a sand shark, go get yourself the sanding buddy from Kyle at KH Daily Knives, and get yourself some of the holders specifically designed for the sand shark. Just a great combination, like I said in the video. Each on their own is a great thing for hand sanding, but they really marry very, very well together. So happy that those are out there. I've been thinking about how to get kind of a holder for a sanding stick set up here, and Kyle's really fit the bill. So you can get those on his website specifically for the sand shark.
That's awesome. I love this. I'm a little irritated that I didn't have one this weekend, but whatever.
Well, it's sitting in a box waiting for you to pick up.
I don't want to go over there, apparently. Yeah. No, that's cool, man, because I think I said this last week, but the sanding stick is what I use. That's what I've ended up with exclusively. That's what I use. It's for me. And I'm super stoked that you got to work with Kyle and put something together, and to make the sand shark even better, because that thing kicks ass all on its own. So making badass shit better.
Yeah, it's exciting, and I'm happy to. I'll be interested.
I don't want to
use
it. I don't think that's a good name for this, but that's a great podcast name. Making badass shit better.
Let's see, what's the
maybe it is this
making MB
yeah
MBA.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but other good news that happened today. I finished a bunch of knives, so I wanted to get a newsletter out. Folks, newsletters work. Every time I send a newsletter, some kind of sale. So I was happy to find out that I sold the Viking sword from the Viking Challenge sold today. So nice to get that out the door. So that'll get sent out tomorrow. And yeah, don't like any of those expensive builds lying around collecting dust. So hopefully that dagger will go soon as well. And then
yeah, I was drawing a blank on the build.
Yeah, no, the big Viking sword from the Viking Challenge.
No, I'm with you now.
Yeah,
I don't know. I was just like, what the hell is he talking about? But
yeah,
I remember. That's a good one. Congrats.
Yeah, that's a good one. So happy about that. That'll that'll keep the company going for for a little while.
Nice.
And then I'm on to some commissions. Got to put some effort into those. That I've promised a few commissions before the end of the year. So a couple of katanas that I'll be working on.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, and it's going to be another fucking roaster tomorrow.
I can't believe it.
It's going to be another 104 or 5 over here.
Really? I thought you were done with this.
I thought so too. You were just talking. I was getting kind of optimistic about like you're finishing things and getting stuff out of the way, and I'm like, I can't. I'm really like being a bitch about the weather, but I'm excited to be able to not have that Mr. Cool on anymore and open my shop up, but it just won't let go. It just won't let go.
Hopefully after Maker Camp, we're all done with this, because that's when I got to start forging again.
Yeah,
and making a bunch of Damascus. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it starts cooling down.
It will. I think this is the last one, but yeah. I mean, it's October and it's 104 tomorrow. It's a little crazy.
That is crazy. I mean, yeah. I feel like, we had a pretty hot spring too. It's been a hot year.
And it's been a roaster. This one's been there. Well, I'm happy there's a bunch of good stuff going on. I mean, we're kind of back and forth with starting the show off with the the unfortunate things that are happening. But I've been kind of trying to put this off for 35 minutes now, but because I really don't want to lose it. But yeah, this was one of the worst weeks of my life. I lost my grandmother. I'm gonna do it. God damn it.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah. And she was one of the most important people in my life. The glue to our family. Just a solid lady. And our family is devastated. And that happened on Tuesday. I think you were talking about it. The reason why I didn't respond to your grinding jig text was because 5 minutes before that, I got the call on Tuesday that had happened, and it has just been a really, really fucking shitty emotional week. I've not. This was close, we only have a couple people in our lives that we lose that are this close, right? And in our family units, and I wasn't ready for this one. So I love you, Grandma. We'll miss you. We all miss you. And it's just, I guess time is all that takes, to try to heal. I did want to just say that there's a lot of people that I'm close to. And I have been in a position to where I've been able to use my experiences and all the struggles and things that I've gone through to help people, talk with them about things, especially emotional things and feelings and stuff like that. Through recovery, I've been able to learn how to process emotions and feelings. And I've had the wonderful opportunity to be a service to other people that are struggling and maybe haven't heard or can't see another way of kind of looking at situations. And it's been a pleasure of mine to be there for people and do that. On the flip side of it, though, it's something ironically that I'm not good at, as asking for help and sharing with people. So I end up going through things like this and struggling needlessly because I'm unable to reach out and ask for help and say that I'm hurting. There's a lot of close friends that I just kind of went off the radar and isolated, which is a coping mechanism of mine. But I just realized that about myself, and I think about part of the process that I'm trying to explain is awareness, right? And trying to be accountable for your feelings, for my behavior and how I'm doing things, right? And the weird part is that while I'm feeling like shit and struggling, I start to get resentful at people because no one's checking in on me, but yet I've not told anybody, right? So it's it's not very valid feeling, right? But so I'm saying that to myself. I hope you guys understand that sometimes we want to do things that are all fun and games and laughing and everything, but I, I don't know, for whatever reason it's on my heart to share things like that. If you are struggling and you are going through something, reach out to somebody, tell somebody that you're hurting, and just let them talk or let them listen, whatever the hell it is, because it's a shame to sit there and isolate and be alone, because a lot of us have a lot of good people in our corner, but they're not very useful if we don't use them. So uh, that's what I'm saying to Jerid, and you just are happen to hear that because you're listening to the Triple T podcast. So
Yeah, I feel for you, buddy.
yeah,
I know what that's like, and you know,
yeah,
you know,
it's
You want to talk? I'm always here.
I know, and I made some calls to a couple people and kind of told on myself in that regards. But you know, I don't know. I don't. This isn't territory that I ever want to go through again, and I don't know how to do it. So we do the best we can, and like I said, time. That's all it's gonna take to kind of heal this. So I'm hearing all this other bad stuff, go on, and not that that's I don't know how to say this, but it's helpful to get out of yourself, right, and to be a service to other people. And like I said, when I was earlier in the episode, I was talking about trying to get out of myself by trying to be grateful for what I do have, and there's other people struggling in all kinds of ways every day, but um, that's it. And then, not that this is any consolation or even comparable, but 2 days later, I got to say goodbye to my Oakland Athletics, and I think this is a good transition because losing my grandmother, like I said, I'll never probably be the same from this experience, right? And then the Oakland A's and baseball, you bust my balls all the time, but that's a big part of my life and my family. I was a season ticket holder for like 3 or 4 years. We spent a lot of time at that ballpark, and it's baseball, but it's also you know camaraderie and family and memories. And I've been going to that stadium my entire life. Little did I know, though, that I did want to go to this game for my own reasons, but I was able to take my son 2 days after we just suffered this loss. And I didn't I didn't realize how needed that was going to be at the moment. How everything kind of came together. Being able to just get in the car and drive with my son, spend that game together, that one-on-one time was really awesome and super healing in its own right. But yeah, that was the other shitty thing that happened. But so no more Oakland A's baseball. The Coliseum is gone, and we watched our last game. But I'm grateful for that. I got to attend the game with my son, and we were able to do that. So
Yeah. And where are they going? I'm confused. They're going to Sacramento? Is that where they're going?
yeah, so the lease is up in Oakland, and they couldn't get their shit together to figure out whether they were going to build a new stadium in Oakland. So they would probably have just played another couple years at the Coliseum until that stadium was built. But the ownership is
That
less
makes no
than cool.
sense. What does that mean? The lease is up? Like what? They're closing down the Coliseum? Like,
Yeah, it's a yeah. It needs to go. It's
are they demolishing it? What are they doing?
more than likely they will. I think it'll
That makes no sense.
yeah. So the Oracle and the Coliseum will probably get demolished and redeveloped into probably all kinds of. They have all kinds of. They don't. Big plots of land like that don't come up in our area for redevelopment ever. So it's kind of like what they did to Candlestick. They completely tore it down, and that's all houses now. But until they figure out where they're going to end up, whether it's Las Vegas or somewhere else, they're going to go, play at the old River Cats Stadium in Sacramento. And the ironic part, the funny part is, I think we're averaging the Coliseum. I think there was almost 50,000 people there on Thursday, 48,000, I think,
That's got to
for
be
that.
capacity, right?
It's not. It was almost, but they have an upper third deck that the place can hold like 60 something if they open everything up, but they never do. But our fans are always been there. It's just they're not trying to support this organization and blah 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 blah. But they're going to this minor league stadium in Sacramento that's going to house, I think it's like 14,000 people, and I think we've been averaging less than 10,000 people per game for the past couple of years. So they won't even be able to sell that place out.
It's still like, I guess I don't know any of the story by it, but like this means the owners of the Coliseum are getting more money to demolish it. Like,
Well, they
like
don't
it,
own it. The city of Oakland owns
that's
the
what I mean. The
tunnels.
city of Oakland
Yeah.
is going to get more money to demolish it than they would for the Oakland A's leasing it for another 2 years until their stadium is built in
Yeah, I think
Vegas.
ownership is saying, hey, because they couldn't work out their deal for the new stadium because the city has to put in, a good chunk of money to do it. They couldn't figure it out, so they're saying the owner's saying, "Fuck off," and we're leaving, so you're not going to get any of our revenue, whatever that is. So I don't know. The whole thing's shitty.
It sounds
And
like a pissing match
it is.
among rich people.
It is. There's a lot of fuck John Fisher chants throughout the throughout the day. But man, yeah, the fans in Oakland are awesome. And it's not the team's fault. It's not it's the ownership that people are having an issue with and not wanting to support or give their money to. So unfortunately, the team and the atmosphere suffers because of that. But um, when we get it all figured out, hopefully they start putting some money into the team and we can start competing again. But yeah. Anyways, that's that. The transition from what happened earlier in the week into this really really positive awesome moment of just a father and a son going to watch a ball game, and kind of closing down that chapter was very very healing in its own right, which then it kind of like got me to thinking about, like, have you ever made a post that you wanted to do well?
Well, maybe not a post, but like YouTube video that I
Okay. Okay.
expected it to do well,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't. Like,
Yeah, and that kinda happened to me a few times over the past couple weeks, like, something I thought would be just would get more traction, and I understand the whole Instagram thing. We're not getting pushed out and everything, but yeah, I just it seems to me, it happened to me once before. I think the first one that I felt about was when we did the mosaic build, and I had posted the beginning and end and progress through it to the final billet, and that thing was just it did nothing. I was just like, wow, I thought that one would do this.
and
Anytime
it's
I ever
you,
think
and it's
they're
you're
going to be good,
forging it in that clip, right?
yeah, it was
Yeah,
a whole thing.
yeah.
uh that one didn't do too well, but that was a while ago too. But there's been a handful of ones where I'm like, yeah, this is the
I
one, and they are
I,
never.
I have stopped trying to predict what's going to do. Like, I really thought I did that karambit build, that Kumai karambit,
Oh yeah, yeah.
which I don't like that build. Like, I was doing that build because I thought it was going to be a successful video, and that video fell flat. Um, and even the dagger video that I released, I thought was going to do way better than it
It
has.
ended
I'm
up.
not unhappy with how it's gone. It's approaching 100,000 views, but I was really hoping that one was really going to take off into the hundreds of thousands of views on the first day. But yeah, I mean, you just can't predict what's going to hit and what's not.
Yeah, yeah.
There's
It's mind blowing. I think the one of the first reel that I ever had that kind of did well was me opening up a box from this little like wind shop stool. I opened the box up, and then I took a picture of it coming out in pieces, and then like 1 second later it was together, and the reel was like 5 seconds long, and that thing went. I'm like, what the fuck? But yeah, anyways, so that just dawned on me. But let me transition out of that shitty stuff. So in the shop this week, I got uh, because of everything that had happened, I was having a hard time being alone and maintaining. So for the first time ever, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time ever, Mrs. Echo Blades came out into the shop with me and was just hanging out, and I got her on the put her on the hand sanding station, just the manual one. So she got the Kyle Daly sanding stick, and we hung out in the shop, and
wow,
she was
give it the exciting work, huh?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know what else to. It was kind of a shitty moment because that's what I had to do, to be honest. And she was hand sanding a knife. I was using the sand shark on another one, and then going back to kind of doing handle stuff. It was just all hand sanding that I had to do that time. But man, that was really cool.
That is cool. I've never had Kim in the shop.
I mean, she's come. I always tell her like, hey, you can come out and just hang out, while I'm out there. And she sits in the chair and spins around. And I had her sit in the Viper chair, and I was like, does that feel like a $700 chair?
Don't tell her that.
Wow, she knows. She knows it all. But yeah, man, it was cool. It was a good. I think she lasted about an hour, hour and a
An
half. Or something
hour.
like that.
Wow, that's like 10 times longer than I thought she'd last.
Yeah, she was a trooper, but it was
Wow.
really cool. I took a couple videos and she got pissed at me, so I haven't. But I haven't posted much,
Oh, we
anyways.
need to
But
we need to see that. We need to
yeah,
see the Mrs. Echo Blades
yeah,
putting in
and
the effort.
yeah, she was kicking ass.
Oh,
So that was cool.
wait, hold on, honey. If you're listening, uh, the the gauntlet has been thrown down. Now, I want to see you in the shop.
Yeah, you need to get out there, Kim. Bedazzle some stuff for him. But she did. It'll be a cold day in hell before she does an intro for the podcast, though. So they're even right now.
Well, we still got to get the girls on the podcast.
Yeah.
You got to work on her. Work on Lynn. Let's
In
go.
time. Yeah. So did that. That was pretty cool. And then I'm not gonna remember the days, and it doesn't really matter. But sometime over the week, I went out to the shop in the evening, and I went into the refrigerator where we have drinks and shit outside. Um, and I open the refrigerator and I catch this like whiff of something, right? I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, like stale food or, something rotting. And then it dawned on me though, I don't know, there's no food in there, right? It's just drinks. So I'm like, what the fuck is that? Am I tripping? So I didn't hang around to do any investigation. So I just went back in the house and went to sleep. I mean, I think I was literally going to grab something to drink, but so I walked back out, and then next day or the other day I go out again, and I was gonna go work in the shop, and there is something fucking dead in my shop, and I'm like, I don't know what it is. So I'm now had some people over. I think my brother was over, and I was telling him, I'm like, dude, am I tripping or do you smell? He's like, bro, you have a dead rat in your shop. They die in the wall, and I'm like, oh my fucking god, like, do I really have to go like bust open a wall and track down a dead rat or something like that? So I get a couple people out there and we just start like
Sniff.
chanting. It's fucking gross, man. It's disgusting.
You're doing the sniff radar.
Yeah. I got like 4 people out there. My son, my mom, my brother,
That might be the name of
Lynn.
the episode, using sniff radar.
Yeah. And we're all like, "What is this?" And you our shop is our shop, right? Like, I don't like people just rummaging and going around and fucking with stuff. But, and everything is all against the wall, and a lot of the shit is on wheels anyway, so it can be moved, but the thought of pulling everything out to try to, like, find where an animal would be. Long story short, fucking about 40 minutes of us pulling the fridge out, looking underneath the fridge, under all the benches and stuff. We're walking around, and my mom goes, "Jerid, what is that?" And I go, what?" And she points down there. "Denis, there is a fucking tail, like, uh, of a
Like a fluffy tail?
like a fluffy tail, like a fox tail." Like, it's about probably like 8 inches long, and it looks like it'd be on the back of a fucking Davy Crockett or Danny
Okay.
Boone hat. Like, that's like the thing, and I'm like, I don't have anything like that. Like, what is that? And then, and it was kind of just like, there was like some socks, because I take like old socks and I'll use them for rags and stuff. And it was, anyways, a mother effing squirrel got into my shop somehow, got trapped in there, and died.
A squirrel.
A squirrel. Because I took a pair of tongs and, I'm like, that's a squirrel. I'm like, that's a squirrel tail. And I go and I start like poking around. A squirrel got into my shop. Door got shut. It's 100 and some degrees in there. Somehow it dies in this particular spot. I go and I go to, I get all freaking, thank God for the latex gloves and the respirators and shit. And I'm a bitch, right? I've already told you this. Like, I don't like,
suit, I'm
I don't
sure.
like, yeah. I'm surprised I didn't put the VersaFlow on, but I would have felt kind of bad when everybody else is just breathing in dead squirrel and I'm in a freaking spacesuit. But I go and I pick up the tongs and I kind of poke around, and sure as shit, the grossest part though is I flip the thing over and the squirrel head opens up, like flips over, and there's maggots coming out of its head, and like it was disgusting. It was absolutely
So
disgusting.
it's at least been a week.
Yeah. I got the thing out, and yeah, the next day it was gone. Like the smell. Open up shop one day, blow everything out, disinfect the shit out of everything, and
You know what I really miss? I miss Bobby at Reaper
I know
doing cartoons, because this would be a good one. You in your hazmat suit looking for a squirrel.
Yeah. Bobby, make a comeback. Post one of the Reaper thing. Apparently, I've been meaning to talk about that for a while. Thanks for bringing it up. Obviously, guys, he hasn't been doing them a while because they shut the meme account down for some reason.
Yeah, what was it? He gave a reason, something about they shut it down because it was like copying other channels or something like that. It was bullshit.
Yeah, it was stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe you make a comeback for the Dead Squirrel Chronicles. I have a video. I will put something together about it though. But and then my son's got a video of me like kind of putting it, doing the thing where I told you I flipped over and I saw the face, and it's just like,
Well,
I'm
we
flipping
both
out.
had animals in the shop because I had that big ass Black Widow come out of my anvil.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that was, what was that, last weekend or something? Yeah, we
Boy.
didn't talk about that last week, but just hammering away, and then like it was in the anvil stand. So I think I was using the straightening hammer on the sword, the Apocalyptic Challenge sword. So it was like ding, 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 like for like 30 minutes, and then it was probably ringing this spider's ears.
That's
And
crazy.
this spider, and I've kind of basically got my knees up against because I'm sitting down because it takes forever, and that's what scared the shit out of me, because it was like almost in my lap because I'm right up against the anvil because I'm sitting down.
Ugh.
And this
Yeah.
huge
Me
Black
and
Widow comes up.
spiders, creepy crawlers. Yeah. All that
Oh,
kind of stuff. Dead. I'm not in.
I am
I'm
girly ass bitch when it comes to spiders.
same.
That thing had to
Same.
die as soon as it met the business end of a fat peen hammer. uh, so if you need to kill spiders, that also works with our buddy Frank and Nita over at Two Bastards Hammers. So if you got a spider problem, you can use a Two Bastards hammer just for that.
That's right.
Also works great on steel and other metal objects. So get yourself one of those fat peen, straight peen, curvy peens. Get
Kirby
yourself
Bean. Wait a minute. What kind of show is this?
get yourself a hammer over at Two Bastards, because ain't it grand to have a fat peen in your hand
Man, true
to
words
kill
have
a
never been
spider that's
spoken.
about to attack you.
Truer words have never had that squirrel been alive running around. Yeah, he would have caught the business end of a curvy peen too. That's great. It does help, if you're. Good God, never mind. But that was going to be a bad one. Sometimes you got to let it go. That's great. But I was into the thing. So yeah, I made the cow cutter, which I'm trying to talk the customer into letting me etch the cow cutter on on the next reverb that's coming out.
Which one's the cow cutter? I know there's a cake cutter. What's the cow cutter?
I have a cake cutter, the taco cutter, the panini cutter, the wave cutter, and now I'm trying to get the cow cutter on.
Is it a brisket knife?
No, it's just a regular chef knife. But the guy that I'm making it for has just ordered a whole cow basically from the butcher, and he's like, "Ooh, just in time for my cow so he's gonna process a bunch of meat with that." And I said, "Oh, that would be cool. We'll call it the cow cutter." But yeah, that's all hand sanded, ready for glue up, and that'll be. I don't know if I'm going to get to it before I leave to LA this weekend. I got a short week again. I head out on Thursday evening to go to LA to go to Disneyland with my daughter. So that's pretty cool. And
yeah,
then
that'd be fun.
Yeah, and on the Oakland A's Intrepid, the guy that I made it for is in South Dakota, and he was actually out here in the Bay Area this weekend, and we were supposed to connect so I could finish it up and deliver to him, but it never actually happened. But I started using like the 332nd stock, the really thin stuff, and then the fat carbon scales that I used. The Gulso boats ended up the standard length were too long, so I was grinding some down, and I was doing something, and I had to grab a particular thing, so I got some of those the shorts, and I'll be damned, they fit perfect for the thinner scales and steel.
Yeah, I was manually grind those things down. It's a pain in the ass.
It's a pain in the ass. It is, and I know that. And I was doing that, and I may have to because those things aren't cheap. But I had, like I said, I had something that I was getting anyway, so I just threw a couple in there to see if it was going to work. You know what my dumbass did? I bought 3 sets
of Gulso boats.
Yeah,
3.
Yeah.
Why didn't you buy a pack of 50?
Because I'm not rich like you.
It's cheaper to buy them in a bulk.
I bought 3 separate. I was just testing this, right? Because I bought 3, Dennis, because in my mind,
I thought you meant 3 sets.
No, I bought 3 because in my mind that was enough for 3 knives. And then I put the 2 on. I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do with this extra set here? So
okay, yeah, that's pretty dumb.
What a dumbass.
Well, maybe you should start making knives with 3 pins. That's kind of what that's telling me.
Or 1 pin now. That's what I need. Oh shit! And then speaking of the cow cutters, so that's almost out the door here. And then I was saying last week the cake cutter that I made for my buddy who got married last year, that came back. I just got that package the other day, and I was actually I'm pretty happy with it.
Nice.
I expected it to be a lot different, and I was going to find a bunch of shit that I wasn't really happy with, but there's some things, but I'm really impressed. They use the knife all the time. It's got some scratches and things from just use, but the thing was still pretty damn sharp, and he said he's never sharpened it, so I'm pretty happy overall. So I'm gonna just buff it up, and I'm gonna etch the actual cake cutter on there because I didn't have the ability then. Get that back out to them because they just celebrated their 1-year anniversary, I think yesterday, the 29th. So happy anniversary, Pelochis. Yeah. And
Very
then
cool.
yeah, so a lot of I didn't get a lot done. Like this was supposed to be the weekend. The
Well, you
last
had
free
some
weekend that I had, but yeah, obviously
extraneous circumstances.
circumstances didn't help much, but I was able to get a bunch done. And then I got a text message from Brent today, said that the collab we're working on is on its way to me. So
Oh,
I'll
that's
have
good.
that. Yeah, I'll have that next week. I'm excited to see it because I'm really stoked about that thing. Figure out what we're gonna do there.
You're gonna
Uh,
do you're gonna do a real you should do a really deep etch with a like a high polish finish on that thing in coffee.
yeah, it's gonna. Yeah, I have a set of Tasmanian Blackwood
Mm,
handle
yep.
that's got just bitch and chatoyancy that's kind of ladderishy, you know. I think
Yep.
it'll go great with just like murder out the knife black. I think I wasn't sure what we were gonna do, so I had him do the Gosel bolt um thing because we'll be able to finish out the entire blade and then just bolt up the scales. I think that's the
Yeah.
route I'm gonna go.
That's the way to go. Nice.
It's gonna be pretty damn cool.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've started to a couple of the chef knives I got coming up are gonna I'm dipping into all this new wood that I got. So a wood that I've never used and never heard of. I'm going to be using salamuli. It looks really cool, really stripy.
interesting.
I'll be using some of that on some of those chef knives. So
Nice.
yeah, yeah. No, didn't have a triple T last week. Had some technical difficulties actually with my laser. I was getting ready to do the laser video, and then my laser was it's been making a funny noise for the last little while, and then the like it's got two dots. You have to have the meet, and one of them is
Converge.
converge or whatever, and one of them was just dancing around, and yeah, so they're sending me a whole new laser. So I'm kind of without a laser right now, so I can't do any maker's marks. So if I happen to sell one of those chef knives, I might be bugging you to help me laser it
Yeah,
until my new one arrives.
yeah,
But
not a problem.
yeah, this week I'll be continuing the folder series. We'll be
Nice.
cutting the lock bar, talking about folder hardware, and then starting to tap holes in the titanium, and then doing bolsters. I don't know if we'll get into bolsters this episode, but um, we probably will. We'll see.
All
But
right.
yeah, we're getting there. I think it's probably going to run, including this episode. I'm thinking three total episodes, like this one and two more. I think when we'll be done that series, but we'll see.
Cool.
Yeah. Um,
Exciting.
should we do Maker Spotlight?
I did want to talk about the appropriate transition from the Bald Man Echo Blades collab with the Twist Damascus that I made was to say that if you did not want to or have the ability to make your very own Damascus, then you should be visiting our boys over at Baker Forge and Tool to get your hands on the best Damascus out there for awesome prices. They are another one of our friends that are affected by the Helena.
Helena? Yeah,
Helene.
maybe.
Helene.
I don't know.
Yeah,
The hurricane.
they are down on production trying to take care of some their own stuff as well as taking some time to support and help all the other people that aren't able to get up and running too. So shout out to those guys and well wishes. as they get back on their feet too. But when they are up and running, make sure you go check them out. They have the Baker Forge and Tool app to where you can receive early access to all of their drops. So go get yourself some of the awesome Damascus patterns that they have. They also have gator piss for etching that beautiful steel and getting that all finished up. So, and when you're all done putting all, like, I don't know, 10, 15 pieces in your cart, go on ahead and save yourself some money and put the discount code triple T10 to save 10% off.
Absolutely. Use some of that gator piss on that collab project and get a nice sparkly 15 and 20 finish.
That is the business. It's going down. Dark and light, dark and light.
And to finish off our sponsors, I was just using some pelican paste today on those chef knives, putting all that nice stuff on the handles. My process now is to I like the hard one because I usually put the hard wax on the handles before I buff them to get it into all the pores and stuff. Just makes me happy and seals them all up. I feel like before I buff them out. So get yourself some pelican paste, hard wax, soft wax, pelican oil, hand salve, soap, you name it. Pelicanpaste.com, and you can also use the discount triple T10 to get yourself 10% off on any of your waxy products that you must have in your shop.
Whether it's hard or soft, Pelican Paste.
We need a good jingle, a good saying for Pelican Paste.
That's right. Yeah, they also have the gritty soap hand solve, which I had to use all kinds of gritty soap this week because. Do you wear gloves while you're hand sanding?
No.
So I do sometimes, and then sometimes I just can't be bothered to put the fuckers on.
You know, the worst hand sanding is I was doing the handle on that chef knife that is carbon fiber.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Sanding, you look like a coal miner. Like my hands were black, like I was a dark elf or something.
Dark elf. Yeah, no, I get it, and So, anyways, that's what the gritty the soap is for, and it kicks ass. Gets that all that smudge all cleaned up and ready. So, pelicanpaste.com, triple T10 for 10%. I was actually just in a Discord channel and somebody was talking about waxes, and so another maker had mentioned that they use a food safe product from Pelican Paste, and I said, hey, why don't you go on ahead and use triple T10, save yourself 10% off. So we're pushing this stuff all day long. It's what we do.
That's all right. I think we have a listener question. We got anything else to cover this week before we go on to that listener question?
Negative. Oh, Antioch River Forge. Noah has a drop coming off for his new Stilico skinning knife, and I just wanted to give him a shout out. And if you're not already following, which I know you guys are, but if you didn't get the message yet, there'll be a drop tomorrow. So go grab yourself one of those. They came out really cool, and super stoked for him. So just wanted to show him some love.
And Noah is a hunter. So this is a knife made for a hunter by a hunter.
That's right.
So it is a purpose built knife, and I really like them. It's almost like it's kind of like scalpel-ish. Great for skinning. You know,
I think it's like a 2.5 inch blade.
Yeah,
you want a handle short, purchase,
roundish blade. So
yeah. But I was just super. He knows, but I proud of him putting out that video because the thought of standing in front of the camera and talking about something that I made, just makes me want to vomit with fear. Like, this is what I, blah, 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 blah. But I think he fucking knocked it out of the park and did a great job. So hats off, buddy. And
Yeah.
go check it out and support our brother Noah at Antioch River Forge.
All right. So we got a listener question from our friend Keith Tonsing at St. Galgano Armory. And his question is, I'm preparing to try my first San Mai with wrought iron and W2. While going down that rabbit hole, I saw on a forum that you can use WD-40 as flux itself. Never heard this before. Is this true? Or does this just do the same thing as kerosene? And yeah, it's the WD-40 thing is basically, it's a fluorocarbon. Any of the fluorocarbon, whether you're using an oil, whether you're using kerosene, WD-40, they're all doing basically the same thing. You're coating the steel before it goes into the forge. It's burning off, eating up on any of that oxygen, but it also is leaving a little residue that's going to prevent forge scale. At least that's the theory. Some people say it does nothing. I'm a firm believer in this. I don't use WD-40. I just use kerosene. I know others use just quench oil. I think any of those kind of fluorocarbons will work for this purpose.
Yeah, I've seen people use quench oil. I haven't heard of the WD-40.
Yeah. I wouldn't use WD-40 just because it's expensive. It's way cheaper to use quench oil or kerosene's like dirt cheap. WD-40 seems like, that stuff's not cheap. But just some other, because there's another thing in this, Keith, if you're doing a San Mai with wrought iron, just a note of caution when you're doing this. So I normally talk about the rule of thirds for San Mai, any kind of layered construction. Wrought iron is an exception. Your wrought iron is going to move way much more than the WT2 core. So you're going to have to make that wrought iron way thicker than your W2. So just be warned that if you have them, like say they were quarter inch, you're going to have a really thin wrought iron cladding if you do that. I've only forged with wrought iron a few times, but it's a pleasure to forge because it moves so easily. It's like you're hammering on Play-Doh. It's really it moves very easily, but it's going to move a lot more certainly than the W2. So just keep that in mind, and be careful getting it too hot because wrought iron will crumble if it gets too hot. So but good luck. Show us how it goes. Put some posts up there, and if you get a knife, send me. I haven't had any knives or very many submissions for viewer knives for the channel. So if you made a knife, send me an image. Send me some pictures to Tyrell Knifeworks at gmail.com, and maybe you'll get it up on viewer knives. I usually do those in the fall, so it's coming up. So send me your pictures.
Yeah, you can understand that email. It's weird.
Jerid's a dick.
Yes.
That's it. I don't want to talk to you anymore. I'm done with this show.
I don't know. I think we got one more order of business here to take care of. So this week for my Maker Spotlight, I have a American Warrior Forge. That is Chris Hendry, as we were talking about earlier in the episode. Chris had an accident at his shop and lost everything in the shop, burned down. I was just kind of looking at his page right here, but that is American Warrior Forge, one word, at IG. He has 1,580 followers. And he was making a big push for Blade Show Blade West, and this unfortunate accident happened. It looks like he suffered second-degree burns over about 6% of his body, but is recovering good, and no one else was hurt. And the house, minimal damage, so he's counting his blessings and looking forward there. And he did have a few knives that made it that weren't in the shop, so he's intending to go see him or to go to Blade West and to show those. So make sure if you are going to Blade, is it this weekend?
I think so. Yeah, this coming weekend.
I think
First
it is.
weekend in
Yeah,
October.
yeah. So it's the 4th and the 5th. He'll be over at table 11B. So go show him some love and some support, and go pick up a knife.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that sucks about losing. I couldn't imagine losing the shop. Well, if I lose the shop, I lose the whole house. But
same.
Yeah. But speaking of losing both, my maker spotlight is Old Hickory Forge, John Norwood, who we talked about earlier in the show. Same thing, just lost his house, his shop, and we're still waiting to hear about his fiance. So all our well wishes, prayers, whatever works for you, send him his way, please. And if you can help out monetarily, there's a GoFundMe for John and for medical bills and all kinds of stuff. So he's a good friend, and it's a crappy thing. So if you don't follow John, go follow him at Old Hickory Forge.
Absolutely.
All right, man. That sounds like a show. We're at an hour and 22 minutes.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be a short one because I didn't think I was going to get through it. But here we are. Thankfully, we're able to do the show. And for that, I think that's a great way to end here.
Yeah, you hung in there.
Thank you, buddy. And that's a wrap.